Some of you out there might be curious about how this pandemic has impacted traveling by air. And you must have seen these pictures all over social media where there's planes literally parked up a lot along the runway. And there's even claims that say only 5% of an entire fleet is getting used during these difficult times. A lot of countries are also closing their borders to minimize the risk and the spread of this virus, unless it's for essential travel. Now with these heavy restrictions, you would think that people wouldn't really travel, or there would literally be very few people on a flight. But that isn't exactly true. I know this because I had to fly. This is my experience of what it's like to fly during COVID. This has been one of the craziest experiences of flying that I've ever had. Due to there being less people, everything just felt really quick and easy. Like, I got through security within like a few minutes, if that, and there were no lines, no queues. It was very bizarre. It was very empty. It just felt really weird. After you check in and you go through the security process, which was actually really quick for me because there was hardly anyone there, once you actually get in the airport and you have like a few hours to kill, it does get very boring because there were only 2 or 3 stores that were open. I think Starbucks and like a kiosk, and they all had long lines. So you couldn't really entertain yourself that way. So you literally just had to sit there, bored, and like me, hungry, which wasn't the best experience. The rule of social distancing was one that was kept throughout, which I really liked. When people were waiting to board the plane, everyone was sitting far apart. And even when they got onto the plane, there was a seat distance. So no one was actually sitting next to each other, apart from like a seat. So one person, a space, one person, which meant for the first flight, I kind of had a bit of space to myself, but it was nowhere near what I thought. Like, everyone was like, oh my god, the plane's gonna be empty, there's hardly gonna be anyone there, you can literally go in first class. It's not like that. I think on the second plane, which was actually from America to London Heathrow, the plane's capacity was I think 200 and there was 100 people. So it was half capacity, but there was still a lot of people on that plane. As soon as you entered the plane, you were given hand sanitizing wipe, which meant that you could like wipe down all the surfaces, clean it a little bit extra, and you were allowed to take hand sanitizer and wipes and stuff. So you're covered on that front. The hardest part of this whole journey for me was actually wearing this mask. Now, I know for some people it's actually hard just to breathe, even if you're not traveling, just like wearing it for a few hours. It gets pretty hard because you're literally breathing in what you're breathing out. Especially when you're wearing that for prolonged hours. Like, I was wearing that for an 8-hour flight and then a 4-hour flight. It was getting hard to breathe, and what didn't help it even more was the fact that I do get travel sick sometimes, so I was feeling bad, I couldn't even breathe. Like, it was a hard experience, and I wouldn't recommend it. What are my final thoughts of flying during COVID? Now, even though the whole process of flying actually was very quick, very efficient, there were no wait times, and even the flight journey was a little bit quicker as well, I wouldn't recommend it because of that mask, because of the whole social distancing. Obviously, you're putting yourself and others at risk when you do fly, especially during this pandemic. If you don't have to, please just stay at home, be safe, don't fly during this time, unless you absolutely have to. Just keep in mind that the airlines are doing a really good job at keeping everything clean, you know, handing out sanitizing wipes, you know, even if you have to, it's not that bad and it's not that scary. Hopefully this whole thing can just blow over really quick. Obviously, this means that I'm back in England, I'm back in P-Town. You know, I made some amazing memories in America and I hope to make many more there. And I'll be making a channel update video telling you what the hell's going on. And be sure to comment down below any questions you might have about flying during the pandemic and what it's like. I hope everyone is safe and healthy, hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you all in the next one. That's all from me. Tilak out.